Meowdy everybody, what's going on? It is Catterday and time for a Pounds for Purrs workout. I was actually supposed to lift on Thursday the 24th, however, I wasn't feeling my best and I wasn't 100%, well, that's an understatement, but I really wasn't in the mood to lift, and also I just didn't want to take the chance of having a bad workout. That being said, I played it safe, took the day off, and plus since it was Christmas Eve, the gym was only open from 9 till 2, so even if I wanted to prolong it and push it later, I only had so much time to do that with. So by the time I would have figured I could have lifted, it was already pretty much closing time. So there was a pretty big gap between Tuesday's workout and today on Saturday. And it's funny because I kind of felt similar when I woke up, but since they were back to their regular hours, at least during this pandemic, the pandemic hours, I guess if you want to call it. I didn't go in the morning. There was no way that was going to happen, and I pushed it off until the afternoon. So I had a bigger window to work with, and I managed to get to the gym somewhere around early mid-afternoon. So I made it happen. I was very tempted to take the day off, but I'm glad I went, and I'll get into that in just a second. Something you may notice with these warm-ups, especially from the floor, is my back angle. I'm trying out a bigger hip hinge. Now, don't get me wrong, I have a hip hinge in my snatch and my cleans, but I thought maybe I'll try a bigger, more pronounced hip hinge. More specifically for the snatch, not so much for the clean, but definitely for the snatch. Just really pushing the hips back farther than normal. So instead of my hips being in line or slightly below my knees, you'll notice with these sets, my hips start slightly above, which is different. So I did take a little bit of caution with it, and I wasn't going for the best sets that I could do, but more or less getting used to the starting position being just slightly altered. And in the end, it worked. It certainly took a little bit of getting used to, but I think it worked overall. And with all the different resources out there, some will be very diligent and tell you that you need your shoulders in front of the bar. Some will tell you over the bar. Nobody will tell you behind it, but you'll kind of get this back and forth between people who believe your shoulders should start certainly in front of the bar, and then you'll get some others who might say, well, maybe over the bar is okay too. I personally think either one can work, and when it comes to hip position and hip hinging, I really think that's a personal thing where you have to work with your own levers, your own limb lengths, and that will help determine what's best for you. Although you can make a general statement about starting positions for the public in terms of what is usually the best, and then you'll get into more individualized form and technique. So with those who have different limb lengths in relation to their torsos, these all make a big difference in terms of what might be best for you, and it may not be the standard or the general consensus for most others. Maybe you just happen to be a certain case where you might need to make some adjustments. For me, I think I can go with either my typical starting position, although this one where you can see my hips are slightly above my knees and I am hinging much bigger, as long as I can keep my spine where it's supposed to be, I'm okay with doing it this way. And I don't know if I'll keep this or maybe I'll switch off or kind of get a good sense of what's best for me. But today's kind of theme with the snatch was try a bigger, deeper hip hinge than I'm used to. So my hips are slightly above my knees, which I'm not accustomed to doing. I'm used to dropping a little bit lower into the snatch before I begin. So it was fine. I think these sets are fine. Oh, and here's a bonus one. I just kept going and going and going, and then I had a feeling I may have done an extra one, and I was pretty sure I did, and sure enough, I did do a bonus double, and it's all good. I was feeling pretty good, and it kind of sealed in the new starting position. Clean and jerk, and this one I tried from the back 3/4 angle, and I like that because before I think I was getting a little bit too much of the front foot, and so I wanted to get a little bit of an emphasis on the back foot when I was doing the split. But still with 155 and or 70 kilos, felt pretty good. felt pretty good. So everything's kind of dialing in the way it's supposed to. I didn't do anything different really with clean and jerk. I kept it pretty much the same that I normally do, and just wanted to get the volume in, kept everything at a good pace, and for the most part I stuck to my usual 90 seconds of rest with just a couple exceptions. There was a guy lifting nearby who asked me if I was a competitor, that if I competed in Olympic lifting, which I thought was very flattering. I took that as a big compliment, and I told him no, of course, because I don't. Not to say that I won't ever, but I have not competed. And I told him the truth. I said I'm a casual lifter. I do it for fun, and that is the actual truth. Will I ever compete? That is a great question. I don't know. I will not say never, but I have no plans of doing this. It turns out he is a competitor. He did tear something. I think he said he tore his LCL, and he's just kind of getting back into the swing of things and retraining. And I did ask him if he was planning on returning to competition, and he is. So good on him. I respect anybody who does competitive lifting, whether powerlifting, strongman, Olympic weightlifting, any of those. I have a huge respect for people who do that. I never had it in my mind to compete in anything. The closest I did was I almost signed up for a powerlifting competition a couple years ago, and I've considered doing a strongman, but I never really looked into it. The closest I ever got to a competition was a local powerlifting meet, and I honestly just don't think my numbers are competitive, at least nothing that will really place me. But even just for the fun and the spirit of going to a competition and being around other people like you or who lift like you, yeah, I get that. I just don't. If I'm going to compete, I really want to win. Otherwise, I'm absolutely okay with just keeping to myself and just lifting for my own benefit. But again, I have a high respect for those who compete and for anyone who takes it that seriously or takes it to that degree. All right. So clean and jerk was good, and then now we're getting into front squat and military press. These went pretty much same as usual. They're good reps. I'm not going for like all out, what can I do with them and to maximize performance, but I hit proper depth on the front squat. I even just did the ever so briefest of stops at the bottom. And I'll give you a little preview for military press. It was pretty much the exact same as last time, so not a lot to say about it. But it was a good workout, and today I did feel kind of just not my best. I slept a lot last night. I went to bed earlier than usual, which is actually a good thing. I really need to start doing that, and made sure I stayed home until I really felt like I was at least somewhat prepared to go work out. And I was on the fence. I wasn't sure if I was going to lift today or not, just from the way I was feeling, but I made myself go and was kind of half, if I'm being honest, kind of half expecting a bad workout just from that alone. But it ended up being actually a pretty good session, so I got to be happy about that. And when I did get to the gym, I went onto the elliptical for a half mile, so it was like 4 minutes, 27 seconds. Nice, easy pace, nothing crazy, just moving around, getting the blood flowing, and then I went to the platform and started my workout. And of course, with hang snatch, I was still kind of just starting to experiment a little bit with body positioning, but the big change, the big difference was the starting position from the floor and putting in that bigger hip hinge. Another thing that I thought was just kind of funny that I thought was pretty good was the amount of people in the gym. So it's the day after a major holiday, and you can tell. So it's just like after New Year's or something like that, you'll see a lot of people showing up, and a lot of awesome women, really awesome women doing really great workouts and exercises, and each of them were doing different stuff, and it's just so invigorating when I see that, because I don't know if this will happen in my lifetime, but I really want that myth dispelled about women and lifting weights. And then on top of that, what kind of exercises and how much weight in relation to their own strength that they should be lifting. And it's nice to see when you get a bunch of random women. They may know each other, they may not, but they're all doing great stuff. Some were doing Olympic stuff, some were doing powerlifting stuff, some were doing bodybuilding stuff, some were just doing like really good stretching and things like that, and almost like rehab type of work. So really awesome. I absolutely love seeing that, and I want to continue seeing that. So, and believe me, they gave me a whole bunch of motivation and inspiration, because it makes me happy to see them not only enjoying the workouts, well, hopefully they're enjoying them, but also seeing them doing exercises correctly and properly. That is the best thing that I can see from them. So that's the workout. Hope y'all are doing well. Have a good one, and adopt, don't shop.